guys, it's Jen, and I'm doing this video because you guys requested it so much. We are talking about hashtag Shark Week, aka menstrual cups. If you guys haven't heard of menstrual cups before, basically it's what I've been using for almost a year to wrangle in my period, and I've been really loving it, but it is something that I was a little bit hesitant to talk about because when people first hear about it, it is a little bit weird. But you know what? We're just gonna do this. I'm just gonna lay it all out there. It's a little bit TMI, so if you guys are weirded out by period blood or talking about any of that, then feel free to click out of this video. But if you are intrigued by menstrual cups or how they work, or if you should try it out, then please keep watching because it's something that I wish I had kind of heard more about earlier on. Starting off, we're gonna talk about what is a menstrual cup? This is mine. Mine is by MIeux Cup. There are a lot of different brands you can find online. I think it's actually quite a bit more popular in a lot of other countries, but it's becoming a little bit more popular in the US. I remember trying a different kind altogether like several years ago and just being like, whoa, I don't think this is working for me. But then I tried it again after I started reading all of these articles about people just being very passionate about them and being like, this is incredible, it made my periods shorter, it made my cramps go away. People were saying like, oh, I don't have to mess with it, I can like exercise in it and like never ever leaks, can't get toxic shock syndrome. The list just went on and on and on. So I basically binge researched online for like 4 days straight. Finally got up the courage to order this online and tested it out, and I have to say it's actually like really changed my life. I love it. I don't think I'm ever going to go back to using pads and tampons on the reg. So I wanted to share with you guys about it, even though it's a little bit uncomfortable to talk about. You might look at this and wonder, how in the world does this go inside the body? Because it makes a lot of sense. With pads, it collects the blood when it comes out of the body, and then tampons, you have a little absorbent cotton thing that you put inside the body. Well, this doesn't actually absorb anything, it fits inside. I have this little glass container that I picked up, and this is going to be simulating the inside of the vaginal canal. And then this is the menstrual cup. And you might be like, oh, how does that fit in there? How does that even work? Basically, there are folding techniques that you use of the actual cup to try to make it smaller so that you can fit it in about the size of a tampon. There are a lot of different tutorials for ways to fold it online that you can research. So let's get to folding. I like punching it on one side and kind of overlapping it like that. And as you can see, the end of it is just about the shape and size of a tampon. So if you can put in a tampon, it's not that much scarier to put this in as well. I like to hold it at the bottom right here. If you just put it in there, it'll pop open like this. And it kind of makes a suction on the outside so that any period blood that comes down will just get contained in the bell-shaped container and not come out of your body at all. And if you've had periods before, sometimes because it is blood, it gets a little bit of that coppery blood smell once it hits oxygen. Because this doesn't actually hit oxygen, there's no smell. It's actually a lot cleaner than you might think because there's literally no trash. There's no waste. Basically, after you collect it, what you would do is reach inside. I know it's a little scary, but you're gonna get used to it if you try it out. If you put a finger in, pop the vacuum seal, and when you pinch it out, it comes out like that, and then you can just dump this out in the toilet. You can clean this out with just a very simple, fragrance-free, oil-free soap. I like using Cetaphil, just the stuff you wash your face with because it's super gentle. And then make sure there's no soap residue whatsoever, and then you just pop that thing back in. Disinfection is super important with this because obviously for something that's going in your body, you don't want to transfer any bacteria or anything bad like that. So all you have to do is just boil it in plain water for 5 minutes before the start of your cycle, and then it'll be ready for use. So actually the maintenance is really easy. If you treat it well, you can just have this for forever, and I think a lot of them are about $30. So if you think about the number of pads or tampons you might buy over the course of of 1 year. This easily is way cheaper than that, plus you can use it for years and years. Some companies say to replace it after every 2 years or 3 years or whatever, but honestly, it's silicone, it's not going to leak anything into your body. Again, no chance of toxic shock syndrome, nothing absorbing, so you don't have any like dryness issues, and it kind of keeps everything with your body in balance the way it should be because it's not really affecting anything. And again, no trash. So I don't know if it's just me, but if some of you guys have cats or dogs that like digging through the trash, probably one of the most embarrassing things possible is for an animal pet to get in there and then drag that thing out when guests are over. Please tell me that's not just me that's happened to, but again, after using this, no problems like that, no trash. It doesn't just like fill up landfills, and it doesn't fill up my own trash can. It's just, in a way, really clean. But there is a teeny tiny bit of, you know, you're gonna have to wash your hands, which you should be doing anyway. Wash your hands before you go in there, after you take it out. If you get any blood on your hands when you're dumping it out, then you're gonna wash your hands afterwards, obviously, as well. So as long as you're keeping yourself clean, keeping this clean with no fragrance, no oils to break down the silicone, then it's actually like so much easier to use because you can keep it in for such a long time. 12 hours is crazy. I can literally do any kind of working out with this. I don't have any problems. It doesn't leak on me as long as you put it in the right way. So one thing I wanted to cover is your body, lady bodies, how that works. Obviously, periods are something that most of us women go through, and I did show this bottle, but there is a little bit more complicatedness to the female anatomy. There's actually a cervix that hangs down in the middle. It's kind of like a spongy tube where the blood comes from because it comes from your uterus down through the cervix into the vagina and out of the body. So if this is the inside of the vagina, it's going to be kind of in the center. Pretend that my finger is a tube, and pretend that this is the top of the vagina and this is the outside opening. So it's going to hang down inside the tube like that. The cup is going to be outside of the tube because the tube is going to come down, the blood's going to come out of that, and you want to catch the blood inside of there. So when you are inserting this, one thing that I do, I put my finger up and I run this around the outside edge, because if the cervix is outside of it, you can feel that and then kind of like push it into the inside of it. So just make sure the cervix is hanging out inside the cup so that it's catching the blood, and then when you pull it out, you can just dump it in the toilet. Figuring out how a menstrual cup works. Let me reiterate, this has nothing to do with virginity, nothing to do with sex, nothing to do with sexual experience. Virgins can totally do this as well. You don't need to be a certain size to use menstrual cups. This particular brand comes in 2 sizes. This is the one for people who have not given birth, and there's a second size that's for women who have given birth, or if you just have a heavier flow and want a little bit more collection power. So I just want to do a quick review on my experience with it. Basically, I switch it, like I said, twice a day, which is really amazing because I don't have to worry about it during the day. Even on my heavy days, it only fills up to about this much, which is really surprising. Some people might have to change it more frequently than me if you have a heavier flow. It's just gonna kind of be something that you experiment with, but most people I know, they will not fill this up. You would be surprised how little actually comes out of your body and how much it seems like it is when you're using pads and tampons. Oh, I forgot to mention, mine, when it came, it had a little stem. Some people have different depths of their cervix. So your cervix might be closer to the outside, or it might be really high up, and depending on that might have an impact on where you place this inside your body, because if you have a really low hanging cervix and this is closer to the entryway, then the stem might be uncomfortable. So mine is a low hanging cervix. Who knew? So I snipped the end of my stem so that it can fit in there and I don't feel anything. It's kind of like if you put in a tampon properly, it's past the nerve endings at the beginning of the vagina, so you don't feel it in there. I've literally done aerial silks with this in, did not even remember it was in there, never had any problems leaking. It's really amazing. If I do have some leaking. Like I said, it's usually because I put it in wrong, or sometimes if I put this in at the very beginning of my period after my period has already kicked in for a day, there's some of the period that has gone into the actual vaginal canal from the cervix. This will catch what's coming into the cervix, but if everything is already in the inside of here, it still has to kind of get out of your body, so you might find that you have some spotting. So for the first couple of days, I usually use a panty liner in conjunction with this. But if I put this in early enough, I usually don't have to have any problems with wearing panty liners at all, and I don't really have any problems, which is fantastic for the comfort of the lady. But whispering to my friends, and you guys are my friends, so I'll loudly whisper to you guys. I was won over by the period cup. It's changed my life because it's made my periods so much easier to manage. I don't even have to worry about them most of the time. The cramp thing, I used to have really severe cramps, and I gotta say, I don't think it's like a significant difference, but I feel like I do get less cramping than I used to. I don't know how that would work at all. My periods, I don't think it made a significant difference with shortening the length of them, but possibly by like a day. In general though, it's just made it way more manageable because I don't have to change it out all the time. It holds so much more liquid than using any kind of pads or tampons, and it just makes me feel cleaner, which I know sounds really ironic with all of the actual touching of things that has to happen, but once you get over that, once you get used to it, once you understand the anatomy of your body and be just like cool with it, okay, this is my body, I accept it, it's a wonderful, beautiful thing, then it's just this thing that can make your life so much easier as a woman. And all I kept thinking when I first started using it for the first couple months is like, why did I not know about this sooner? I would have just loved having used this for years and had such an easier, happier relationship with my periods if I had had the menstrual cup sooner. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this very embarrassing video. If you did and felt a little uncomfortable or interested or thought this was informational, I would love it. Please press thumbs up, share it with your friends who are weirded out by their periods or hate their periods. I hate my period, but hey, you know, we gotta live with it. It's a part of being a beautiful woman. That's about it. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Subscribe to see more videos. This is Jen, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.